Hey guys, Rhett here. Thanks for watching. Want to talk today about wholesaling property, okay? And I want to talk to you about a couple different aspects of wholesaling property, buying off-market property, working with wholesalers, starting out being a wholesaler, a couple different things that I kind of want to touch on in this video. The first thing is, I don't know where people are, I don't know where the sources that people are going to for wholesaling on the internet or where people are learning how to do it. I know a lot of people are trying to wholesale property. The first thing I want to tell everybody out there is wholesaling property is incredibly difficult, number one. It's not nearly as easy as it's being put out there as. And I don't even know if it is being put out there as easy, but I have a lot of people reaching out to me trying to wholesale me properties, saying that they're trying to raise capital through wholesaling. It's not easy. It doesn't make sense for a seller to use a wholesaler in a seller's market, because why would you want to use a wholesaler when you could put your property on market and possibly get multiple offers on it for over your asking price? So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why you'd want to use a wholesaler in this kind of market. And I'm sure wholesalers will comment on this video and tell me why I should be using a wholesaler. Personally, I've used wholesalers before. On the whole, I would say my experience with wholesalers has been largely negative. I know some great wholesalers. I continue to work with some wholesalers. I'm saying in general, there are a couple people that I work with in certain areas who are good. But here are the issues that I run into. And for all of my coaching clients, we get the occasional deal off market, but more times than not, the properties that are brought to us from wholesalers have problems. And a lot of my clients and people that I talk to say, Rhett, why don't we use wholesalers? And the reason being, guys, I like working with people that have, and don't take this the wrong way, but when you deal with a real estate agent, you're dealing with somebody that has a level of accountability, right? If a real estate agent is shady, if a real estate agent isn't ethical, they lose their real estate license, right? If they lie to you, they have something to lose. Wholesalers, you don't need a license to be a wholesaler. You don't need any kind of documentation. You don't need anything to be a wholesaler. So I don't like dealing with people in real estate that don't have something to lose, right? I have something to lose. You guys have something to lose. So why are we doing business with people that don't have anything to lose? Now, again, I'm not saying all wholesalers have nothing to lose. I'm just saying from a business standpoint, from a legal standpoint, I want to make sure that the people that I'm buying property from have a fiduciary and ethical and moral responsibility to make sure that they're doing right by me. Now, of course, at the end of the day, a wholesaler is trying to make as much money as they can. So is a real estate agent sometimes. But at the end of the day, a real estate agent is bonded by a licensing bureau in their state. And if they do something more not moral or unethical, they can lose their license. So I like having that to fall back on. With wholesalers, you can get screwed and, nothing happens. So that's one aspect of this thing. Another aspect of this is, and this has been something I've been running into kind of frequently lately, and this is kind of the reason I'm doing this video. I've had some wholesalers bring properties to the table, and I have clients of mine that we get properties under contract from wholesalers, and we're 30 days out from a close, so my clients stop looking at other properties. They miss out on other properties that come on the market. And 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, the property goes to the closing and title company, and we realize that there are liens on the property and the title's not clear, and there are issues with this and there are issues with that, and we can't close. And by the time we try to get that worked out, we're 4 or 5 weeks away from when we got it under contract, and we've just wasted 4 or 5 weeks. Now, of course, that can happen with an MLS property that's represented by a real estate agent. But in general, in my experience, it happens more with wholesalers because there is less ability for due diligence. People don't care as much. People are trying to make a quick buck. Now, again, I'm not saying this for all wholesalers. I'm just saying in general. People ask me why I don't use wholesalers as much, and I'm telling you why, okay? If you're a wholesaler, don't take offense to this. This is part of the industry, and you guys know there are a lot of people that try to wholesale properties that don't have the best intentions at all times, okay? So I find that more often than not, in my experience, properties that I have bought or have tried to buy through wholesalers have more issues that are either undisclosed or found in the process of due diligence, in the process of a title search, and we can find liens on those properties and find that properties were misrepresented and that there's a whole slew of issues. So would I suggest people that are trying to raise capital to get into real estate start with wholesaling? No, I think wholesaling is tough. I think, if you're dealing with savvy investors, I know some investors that only buy off-market property from wholesalers. I know that is a thing. I buy properties from wholesalers every single year. There hasn't been a year in the last decade I haven't bought at least one property from a wholesaler. But I don't love it for non-experienced investors. I don't love it for people that are getting into real estate. I don't think wholesaling is the first step. I don't think that is the stepping stone to real estate. I think it's a lot harder to do than it's being put on. And from a buyer standpoint, I don't want my client's first experience in real estate or second, third experience in real estate to be with a wholesaler. I want to make sure that we are dealing with people from A to Z who have a fundamental ethical and moral responsibility to the seller and to the buyer. Things work out better when you have people on both sides that want the best for their people. What I mean by that is when you have a selling agent representing an MLS property and a buyer's agent representing a buyer, they both have that fiduciary responsibility to their client. The seller's trying to get as much money as possible. The buyer's agent is trying to get it for as cheap as possible. And they're both trying to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I like that. I like that setup. I like that the buyer's agent has attorneys and closing and title companies that they use and that they trust. And I like that the seller's agent has closing groups and attorneys and title companies that they use and that they trust. I like the current foundation and the format that exists because at the end of the day, it protects the seller and the buyer. Things are in place that allow us to succeed, that allow us to get into safer property, and that allow us to not be at risk as much. We're mitigating our risk by using people with proper licenses to get into real estate the right way. Guys, the deals are out there. I promise. Wholesalers can make a lot of money doing what they do, and I want everybody to make money because when everybody makes money, everyone's happy. But, the wholesaler shouldn't be getting the best deal out of this. You know what I mean? So just my thoughts. I know people disagree with me or agree with me or be indifferent on this. If you have some stories about using wholesalers, good or bad, drop them below. I'd love to hear them. And I want to hear your questions and comments too. So we'll see you next time.